Hey guys, it's Sasha here from Peace, Love, and Happiness Club. I have this Burle Marx fantasy that desperately needs to be put onto some sort of wood or a pole, so we're going to be doing that, and then we're going to be air layering it with sphagnum moss, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it. So to start off with, I obviously have the Burle Marx fantasy, then I have an empty bucket or bin just to place the excess soil into. I have a new pot because I prefer clear pots. It shows their whole root system. I have my aeroid soil mix. I have a flat piece of wood. They can also grow on poles basically, but I prefer this flat piece of wood. It gives it a little nice more support, and it's also a lot easier to put this sphagnum moss onto. And this will be used for air layering, which will help promote aerial root growth and also makes cutting super easy. I also have a little bit of water to water everything once I'm finished, and rubber bands also to help keep the sphagnum moss in place. And that's it. So we just got this planted recently, so I don't really know what its root systems are like. So it's kind of a blind guess, but let's hope that they're good and healthy. Oh yeah, that's a nice root system. This is a pretty plant. It'll do well, especially on the stew pole. So to start off, I just take it out. I shake out the roots a little bit. I don't want to go too crazy, especially since they're in such good condition. And this looks like a pretty good aeroid mix, so I don't need to do a ton of extra work here. But yeah, once this is all shaken out, I'm just gonna basically plop it right in there and take my aeroid mixture. Now, I'm gonna have it sitting up a little bit higher than it was originally because this pot's a little lower. So I'm not gonna drop it in there. I'm gonna keep it up just like a centimeter maybe, and then start putting in my aeroid mix. Shaking it around, never tamping down the soil. What tamping down the soil will do is make it so it's too heavy, basically, and that there's gonna be no airflow. Now, before I get all the way, I'm gonna place down my wooden stake, basically. Now I wanna create a little pocket there. Never wanna force these in, because then you can risk breaking some of the roots. So I'm gonna have it sit sort of like this. So yeah, that looks about right. It's kind of where I want it. I might adjust it just a little bit, but we want to get these in before the soil's all the way there, so obviously we don't have to shove it back in. But just shaking it evenly and not tamping it down is the key to making these plants happy. That's good. Maybe a little bit more around the sides. But yeah, simple as that. Next step is the fun part. So I want to get the sphagnum moss around the nodes right here. You can see there's already a little area that's kind of popping out, but pretty simple. Just sort of placing it on the top of there. Now I'm going to take my rubber band, use my teeth, cut it, and just wrap it around. It doesn't want to be too tight. Nice and loose, because the sphagnum moss wants to kind of be airy in a way. If it's super tight and just sitting in water all the time, then you're gonna have a higher chance of it rotting, and that's no good. That's it. Super simple, and I'm gonna do that for the next 2 nodes, maybe even, actually no, the next 3 nodes, and I'll show you when it's done. Okay, so I have it all with the moss on it. So I think the pole's a little bit wobbly. So this is my trick. I take leca and I just put a small layer on the top. And that's gonna keep everything in place because it's a lot sturdier than the soil mix is. Now, this isn't actually to help with watering in any way, shape, or form. And because the leca's on it, I'm actually going to bottom water it. This is where clear pots really come in handy. Because we can see the root systems, we can see how dry the soil medium is. And what I do is I just take a little clear cup, and I let it soak up. and boom, you can see where the water line is right here. And the clear pot makes it really nice for this, obviously. But that's going to keep this soil medium nice and airy. But where the roots are sort of down here, it's a little bit wetter. So you're going to really reduce the chances of root rotting. And yeah, it makes it nice and easy. I'm already so excited about this guy. This is one of my favorite personal plants. And you need to keep the moss wet to encourage the root growth, basically. So I just take my mist it. Also, having the actual wood itself wet will help kind of keep everything nice and moist. So really just dousing it. The moss can dry out pretty fast, especially if you're in a hotter area. So I recommend just checking it every day and misting it. And it wants to be pretty moist. This Burle Marx Fantasy is all done. It's super beautiful. These plants have a really great sheen. So this is called air layering, and it works really well for a lot of Monstera, a lot of aeroids, pothos, pretty much anything with area roots. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments or send us an Instagram DM or whatever. Make sure to check us out on Instagram because I'm probably going to post updates of this plant within the next 2 weeks. Bye guys, peace out.